A pestilent parade!
Let's plunge into the corrupting embrace of chaos, where reality twists and nightmares come alive. We're about to unveil 11 of the most horrifying chaos spawn transformations in Warhammer 40k lore. Can you withstand the terrors that await without flinching? We'll journey through a realm of warped flesh and shattered minds where each transformation is more nightmarish than the last. From the mightiest heroes to the lowliest hive dwellers, no one escapes the touch of the warp. By the end, you'll either emerge as a hardened veteran of the Grimdark or find yourself checking under your bed for tentacles. Are you prepared to face the true face of chaos? Ever wondered what keeps the residents of a hive city tossing and turning in their cramped hab units? Let's talk about the Abomination of Badzone 12, a legend that's grown to monstrous proportions in the depths of Necromunda's underhive. In the twisted corridors and forgotten chambers of Badzone 12, whispers speak of a creature so horrifying that even the most hardened gangers turn tail and run. The origins of the Abomination are as murky as the toxic sludge that flows through the underhive's waste pipes. Some say it was once a powerful gang leader, driven mad by forbidden archaeotech. Others claim it's a mutant spawned from the hive's most polluted corners. A few suggest it might be a living manifestation of chaos itself, born from the very decay that plagues the hive's forgotten depths. The descriptions of those who've encountered the Abomination and lived to tell the tale are enough to curdle the blood. Picture a writhing mass of tentacles, each one as thick as a man's arm, lashing out from a core of nightmarish flesh. Gnashing maws filled with rows of needle-sharp teeth open and close at random across its surface, hungry for anything unfortunate enough to cross its path. The creature leaves a trail of destruction in its wake, crushing hab blocks and tearing through bulkheads as if they were made of flimsy parchment. As we piece together the scattered reports and sightings, a terrifying picture of the Abomination's capabilities emerges. It possesses an uncanny ability to regenerate, like a grotesque puzzle that constantly reassembles itself. Some claim it can split into smaller versions of itself, each one just as deadly as the original. And perhaps most chilling of all, there are whispers that the Abomination can absorb the memories and skills of those it consumes, growing more cunning with each victim. If you thought the Abomination of Badzone 12 was nightmare fuel, brace yourself for something even more horrifying. On the Death Guard-controlled world of Noxar, a new monstrosity stalks the toxic wastes, one that makes even Nurgles chosen avert their gaze. Let's talk about the Beast of Noxar, a creature so vile it redefines the very concept of chaos spawn. The Death Guard, in their infinite cruelty, have found a way to harness this abomination as a weapon of psychological warfare. Picture a colossal mass of rotting flesh, pulsating with cancerous growths and weeping sores. But here's the kicker: this beast possesses a cruel intelligence that sets it apart from its fellow spawn. One terrified guardsman recounted his encounter. It was like a mountain of decay, but its eyes. Emperor, protect us. Those eyes held a cunning that chilled me to my core. This horrifying amalgamation of decaying body parts, each bearing Nurgle's blessings, doesn't just kill. It demoralizes and breaks the will to fight. What's truly chilling is how the beast retains some of its former tactical acumen. It coordinates with Death Guard forces, setting up ambushes or herding enemy troops into kill zones. It's as if the creature remembers its past life as a warrior, but those memories are now twisted to serve only Nurgle's pestilent will. The Beast of Noxar isn't just a failed champion or a punishment for ambition. It's a grim reminder of Nurgle's idea of mercy. In the Plague, God's twisted logic, this abomination is a gift. Eternal life, freedom from pain, and a never-ending cycle of decay and rebirth. It's a chilling example of how even the mightiest can fall, and how the gifts of chaos are always a double-edged sword. Just when you thought chaos spawn couldn't get any more unpredictable, along come the Breachmen to shatter everything we thought we knew. These aren't your average mindless abominations. They're a unit that moves with purpose, exploiting their mutations in ways that defy explanation. Ready to have your perception of these twisted creatures turned upside down? Let's dive into one of the most disturbing accounts in White Dwarf's history. The Breachmen are a coordinated nightmare that's keeping Imperial tacticians up at night. Picture this: a swarm of writhing, mutated flesh, each creature unique in its horrific form, yet moving like a monstrous ballet, each grotesque dancer perfectly in sync. It's like watching a school of piranhas, if those piranhas were the size of tanks and made of melted faces and tentacles. But how is this possible? Aren't chaos spawn supposed to be driven mad by their mutations, reduced to mindless beasts? That's what makes the Breachmen so terrifying. Somehow, they've retained a spark of tactical acumen, using their bizarre forms to their advantage. They create living walls of flesh to absorb enemy fire or use tentacles to scale fortress walls that would stop any normal assault force. The origins of the Breachmen remain shrouded in mystery. Were they once a squad of space marines, their brotherhood somehow surviving the transformation into Spawn? Or are they something else entirely, a new breed of horror crafted by the dark gods? Whatever the truth, the implications are staggering. If Chaos can create coordinated units of Spawn, it adds a whole new dimension to their threat. Imagine being an Imperial Guard commander, preparing your defenses against a Chaos incursion. You've accounted for the cultists, the marines, even the demons. But then the Breachmen arrive, and all your carefully laid plans fall apart. How do you defend against something that defies all logic, that can change its tactics on the fly, using mutations you can't even comprehend? Just when you thought Chaos Spawn couldn't get any more organized, the broken spear tips arrive to shatter that illusion. These aren't your average mindless mutants stumbling across the battlefield. The broken spear tips are a terrifying force that moves with purpose and executes complex battle maneuvers, combining the unpredictability of mutation with the precision of a master strategist. Their name evokes images of a living weapon, each spawn working together like the deadly barbs of a mutated spear. It's as if they're connected by some twisted hive mind, a psychic link forged in the fires of chaos itself. Imagine a swarm of rhino-sized piranhas made of writhing tentacles and gnashing teeth, armed with military-grade tactical knowledge. The broken spear tips tactics are nothing short of revolutionary. They set up pincer movements, create diversions, and execute feints to draw out enemy forces. In one battle, they formed living siege towers to scale fortress walls, then split apart to encircle and devour entire platoons. It's like watching a chess game played with pieces made of nightmares. The Imperium's response to this new threat has been a mix of fascination and abject terror. How do you prepare for an enemy that combines such unpredictability with strategic precision? Imperial tacticians have been forced to rewrite their playbooks, treating these spawn as a highly adaptable, intelligent force. What's truly chilling is the implication behind the broken spear tip's existence. If Chaos can create such coordinated abominations, what other horrors are lurking in the warp, waiting to be unleashed? It's a grim reminder that in the war against Chaos, the enemy is always evolving, always finding new ways to bring ruin to the Emperor's realm. Let's turn our attention to a different kind of nightmare, one born not from tactical innovation, but from failure. Feryx, the Black Legion's fallen hero, shows us just how far the mighty can fall when they disappoint their dark masters. Feryx was once a proud Black Legionary, a warrior of renown within Abaddon's elite ranks. His story, chronicled in Honor Among Fiends, gives us a chilling glimpse into the past of a Chaos spawn. It's a tale of ambition shattered, of hubris punished, and of the unforgiving nature of the dark gods. As we trace Feryx's descent, it's clear that even the mightiest champions of chaos walk a razor's edge. One misstep, one failure to please their capricious masters, and they risk a fate worse than death. Feryx's transformation from feared warrior to mindless abomination serves as a stark reminder of the true nature of the chaos gods and the price of their gifts. But Feryx's story reveals more than personal tragedy. It's a window into the cutthroat politics of the Black Legion itself. In this dark brotherhood, failure is not an option, and the consequences are severe. Feryx's fate reflects the brutal internal dynamics of Abaddon's forces, where ambition and treachery intertwine like serpents. The Black Legion, in its ruthless efficiency, doesn't waste even its failures. Feryx, now a monstrous chaos spawn, is unleashed upon the enemies of chaos. A once proud warrior reduced to a mindless engine of destruction. His very existence serves as a grim motivator for other Chaos champions, a constant reminder of what awaits those who falter in their service to the dark gods. In the grim darkness of the far future, even the monsters have monsters to fear. Let's turn our attention to a class of horrors so ancient, so utterly alien, that they make even hardened Chaos warriors tremble. Welcome to the realm of the forgotten. White Dwarf 497 introduces us to a chilling concept. Chaos spawns so old that their origins have been lost to the mists of time. These aren't your average mutated warriors. They're living fossils of the galaxy's darkest moments. The Forgotten suggests that Chaos spawn might survive indefinitely, indefinitely, a terrifying prospect that challenges our understanding of mutation and warp-tainted existence. Imagine the sights and sounds of ancient battlefields where these horrors first emerged, the air thick with the acrid stench of burning flesh and the metallic tang of blood, punctuated by unearthly shrieks that echo across millennia. Could these be the remnants of failed Primarchs, twisted beyond recognition, or perhaps they're the last vestiges of long-extinct Xenos races that succumbed to chaos before humanity's cosmic awakening? The continued existence of the Forgotten raises unsettling questions about the nature of chaos mutation. Are these creatures caught in an endless cycle of death and rebirth, or have they transcended mortality altogether in some unfathomable way? Imperial encounters with the Forgotten are mercifully rare, but when they do occur, the results are catastrophic. Picture facing a foe that has had eons to perfect its form of destruction, a creature so saturated with chaos that reality itself bends around it. It's no wonder that even battle-hardened space marines have been known to falter in the face of such horrors. In the grim darkness of the 41st millennium, some names are whispered with such dread that they become legends in their own right. Foulspawn is one such name, a title that sends shivers down the spines of even the most hardened veterans. But what exactly is Foulspawn? Is it a single, ever-mutating horror, or a title passed down through generations of increasingly twisted abominations? Let's trace the appearances of Foulspawn across the vast tapestry of Warhammer 40,000 lore. It's a name that crops up time and time again, each mention adding another layer to its terrifying reputation. Some accounts describe Foulspawn as a writhing mass of tentacles and maws, capable of consuming entire squads of space marines in seconds. Other reports paint it as a hulking behemoth of cancerous flesh, its very presence enough to drive lesser beings mad. These varying descriptions suggest either a creature capable of rapid, extreme mutation, or multiple entities sharing the same infamous moniker. It's possible that Foulspawn has become a catch-all term for particularly horrific chaos spawn, a title bestowed upon those abominations that surpass even the usual standards of revulsion. What's clear is that Foulspawn's reputation has grown to mythic proportions. It's become a boogeyman of sorts, used to scare new recruits and remind veterans of the horrors that await those who fall to chaos. Watch yourself, a grizzled sergeant might growl, or you'll end up as Foulspawn Chow. The name has become shorthand for the very concept of chaos corruption, a reminder of the fate worse than death that awaits those who stray from the Emperor's light. Whether Foulspawn is one entity or many, it represents the archetypal chaos spawn in the collective nightmares of the Imperium. It's the embodiment of every fear about mutation, corruption, and the loss of humanity in a galaxy where the impossible happens daily. Foulspawn stands as a testament to the depths of horror that chaos can produce. Just when you thought the horrors of the Horus Heresy couldn't get any worse, along comes Gida'ljal. This isn't your typical traitor space marine. It's a new form of abomination taking shape in the shadows while the galaxy burned with civil war. Gida'ljal represents a missing link in the evolution of Chaos Spawn, a creature born from betrayal and corruption. The Ruin Storm, a massive warp rift created by the Word Bearers, has engulfed Ultramar. This maelstrom of reality-bending energies bends the laws of physics and biology to their breaking point. It's in this crucible of madness that Gida'ljal emerges, a being that shouldn't exist but does. The Ruin Storm isn't just a tear in reality, it's a breeding ground for the impossible. Raw warp energies combined with the psychic trauma of billions of souls create a perfect storm for mutation. This unholy alchemy gives birth to Gida'ljal, a creature that defies explanation. What makes Gida'ljal truly terrifying is what it represents. Its existence suggests that the corrupting influence of chaos was already at work in the early days of the heresy, blurring the lines between loyalty and treachery. Unlike later spawn, which often appear as mindless masses of flesh, Gida'ljal retains a cruel intelligence. It's capable of speech, though its words are madness given form. Its body is a shifting nightmare of ceramite and flesh, with weapons melded directly into its form. Examining Gida'ljal's abilities offers us clues about the early days of chaos corruption. The transformation process was still in its infancy, not yet the total obliteration of self that later Spawn would experience. It's a grim reminder of how quickly and insidiously chaos can corrupt even the mightiest warriors. Kerbasi stands as a chilling contradiction in the Ruin Storm, a being that's both a mindless chaos spawn and a disturbing echo of its former self. This remnant of the Horus Heresy's madness represents something far more unsettling than your typical warp-twisted abomination. It's as if Kerbasi is caught between two realities, clinging to fragments of its former self while twisted by the raw power of the warp. Unlike most Chaos spawn, Kerbazi has retained a haunting level of self-awareness. It's trapped in a nightmarish limbo, neither fully corrupted nor truly loyal. This raises some chilling questions about the nature of Chaos corruption and the resilience of the human spirit. Or perhaps it's a testament to the Dark God's cruelty, preserving a spark of consciousness within a mutated form. What sets Kerbazi apart is its terrifying control over its mutations. It uses its twisted body to adapt to different combat situations, shifting and morphing to create improvised weapons or defenses. This tactical acumen makes Kerbazi a uniquely dangerous threat on the battlefield, far beyond the capabilities of a typical writhing mass of flesh and tentacles. Kerbazi's continued existence also raises mind-bending questions about time in the warp. Has this creature experienced millennia since the Horus Heresy, or have only moments passed from its perspective? The implications are staggering, suggesting that the horrors of the heresy might be eternally present for some unfortunate souls. Eyewitness accounts paint a picture of a being torn between two worlds. Kerbazi has been observed fighting alongside Chaos forces one moment, only to turn on its allies in apparent moments of lucidity the next. It's locked in an eternal struggle with itself, alternating between the loyalty of its former life and the corruption that now defines its existence. When you think of Chaos corruption, your mind probably jumps to battle-hardened warriors or psychers dabbling in forbidden powers. But let's consider a different kind of fall from grace, one that starts in the plush offices of planetary governance. Governor Narbo's tale is a chilling reminder that sometimes the path to damnation begins with a signature, not a bolter round. Imagine a world where the governor's mansion becomes a den of horrors. That's exactly what happened on the once prosperous world of Helix Prime. Governor Narbo was known for his shrewd political maneuvering and iron-fisted rule, but it wasn't his ambition that led to his downfall. It was his fear. As reports of chaos incursions in neighboring systems grew, Narbo became obsessed with protecting his world. He began making deals with shadowy figures, promising anything in exchange for security. Little did he know, these weren't simple arms dealers or mercenaries. They were cultists of Tzinch, the chaos god of change. The corruption was subtle at first. Narbo's paranoia grew, and his behavior became increasingly erratic. His staff began to disappear, replaced by eerily similar lookalikes with an unsettling gleam in their eyes. The mansion itself started to warp, its walls breathing and floors rippling like ocean waves. By the time the Inquisition caught wind of the situation, it was too late. They found a governor's mansion turned inside out, pulsing with otherworldly energy, and at the center of it all was Narbo, a writhing mass of tentacles and eyes, still wearing the tattered remains of his gubernatorial sash. The fall of Helix Prime sent shockwaves through the sector. Narbo's legacy lives on as a stark reminder that corruption can take root anywhere, even in the supposed bastions of Imperial rule. If you thought Plague Marines were the pinnacle of Nurgle's corruption, let me introduce you to Zargox Grench, the champion who took embracing decay a bit too far. Once a Death Guard Plague Marine, Zargox's enthusiasm for Nurgle's gifts spiraled out of control, leading to a transformation so extreme that even the Lord of Decay himself couldn't stomach it. Zargox's mutations went beyond typical festering sores and bloated bodies. His flesh became a constantly shifting mass of putrid growth, with organs rupturing through his skin, only to be reabsorbed and replaced by even more grotesque formations. The stench emanating from Zargox was so potent it could corrode ceramite armor and melt the flesh of those unfortunate enough to be nearby. Zargox's mind became a swirling vortex of madness, filled with an obsessive desire to spread disease in ways that even Nurgle found distasteful. He began creating plagues that completely obliterated all life they touched, leaving nothing behind to decay or be reborn. The reaction of Zargox's fellow Death Guard provides a fascinating glimpse into the twisted honor code of Nurgle's followers. At first, they celebrated his dedication, seeing his extreme mutations as a sign of favor. But as Zargox's transformations intensified, even these hardened warriors began to recoil, whispering among themselves about their comrades' excessive devotion. Zargox's fall from grace wasn't just about his physical corruption. It was his perversion of Nurgle's cycle of life, death, and rebirth that truly sealed his fate. In the eyes of the Plague God, Zargox had become an aberration, a being that threatened the very balance of decay and renewal that Nurgle cherished. His excessive zeal had transformed him into a monster so repugnant that even the God of Pestilence turned away in disgust. From the underhive to the corridors of power, we've witnessed Chaos Corruption's true face. It's a grim reminder that in the 41st millennium, even the mightiest can fall to the Dark God's whispers. Each monstrosity we've explored has a story, once proud warriors or ordinary citizens before their horrific transformations. What hopes were shattered in their fall? These tales serve as a stark reminder of our own humanity's value, separating us from the horrors lurking in the warp. So, fellow defenders of the Imperium, stay vigilant. The line between hero and horror is thin. Will you stand strong against the tides of chaos or become the very thing you once fought against?